What's up, everybody? This is Del, and welcome to Del on Movies. Thanks for hanging out with me. If you've been here before, thanks for hanging out with me again. And tonight we have a very special guest in the building for Movie Swap. You might know her as one half of the Double Feature podcast, or 1/8, I want to say, maybe, of the Lost Girls. I'll have her correct me on that one. And every one of everybody's favorite pair of twins. But tonight is her first solo flight out and about on the internet by herself, and I am bringing in Kira. Hey, Kira, I think your
Hey,
mic
I'm
is
muted.
muted.
Yes. Hey,
There we
everyone.
go. Okay.
Hello. Hello.
All right, so glad you could join us tonight.
Yes. Yes. Glad to be here. Ooh, I'm excited.
Yeah,
Yay.
so and yeah, it is your first solo flight. Are you feeling nervous? Are you feeling okay?
No, I'm feeling good. I'm confident.
Good, good. That is always a good thing to hear. Nothing to be nervous about. We're just chatting about movies.
Okay. Yes.
So my first question is: you guys are known for being horror enthusiasts, and who got who into horror? Was this just a natural thing? You and your sister Mika, if anybody's watching doesn't know.
Oh gosh, I think that was mutual, honestly. Like I feel like we both jumped into it pretty gosh, the same, honestly. I don't think there was a difference there. We both jumped into it together in childhood. Like I remember at first, one of the first films we saw, and I can't believe my mother let us watch like these movies, honestly. But Alien, Demon Knight, like we jumped in it together, like
Okay.
wholeheartedly. And I remember at one of our very first slumber parties, we rented nothing but horror movies. And like from that day on, like I guess our friends were probably petrified, but we loved it. Yeah,
All
we had
right.
the Exorcist, we had everything.
Yeah, and I saw The Exorcist for the first time when I was like 8. You know, have any idea about when you saw? I was scarred, but
Oh
any
gosh, I
idea
think we
when you saw?
saw that first around. Oh, we were pretty young too. I would say like maybe 9 or 10. And like I
Yeah.
said, my mother like literally let us just watch it. It was never like, oh my God, that's gonna scare you. You're gonna have nightmares. It was almost like, oh sure, you can watch that.
Yeah, my,
But
my
we were
mom was the same.
horrified, but we never looked away. Like we continued to watch them back to back to back. We've
Yeah,
always loved horror.
my mom was pretty much the same. She just let me watch
Oh,
pretty much whatever was out there. You excited for the Exorcist remake?
oh my gosh, yes. And you know what was the icing on the cake? Do you want to take a guess, Dale? What really sealed it for me?
No, go ahead. I
They
couldn't
brought
guess.
back Ellen Burstyn. Yes, I'm so stoked
Well,
that
see,
she yes, she's returning. Yes.
oh, see, I didn't know, and honestly, I haven't paid really any attention to this movie other than I know it's coming and I'm gonna see it. But I really hadn't paid attention to any details, so I didn't know she was coming back
Yes,
in
at
the movie.
89 years old.
So she says the same character.
Same character, yes.
Oh wow. Okay,
Yes. I'm
that's
interested to
interesting.
see how they'll incorporate her into the story arc, but just seeing her in the trailer, I was elated. I said, "Oh my gosh, you have me. I'm there."
Yeah, I haven't even seen the trailer yet.
Oh, you got to check it out, Dale.
So
I'm curious to see what you think about it.
I will check it out. I will check it out because like when it comes to trailers, I'm not a big trailer guy. I'll watch the first trailer of whatever movie it is, and then it's like, okay, I don't need to see the second, the third, the fourth trailer. I don't need all that.
Oh, got you. Do you get nervous that they're gonna spoil it somehow? I feel like
Yes,
sometimes they do that, unfortunately.
yes. I like to go into a movie as cold as possible. Some trailer came out recently. I just ignored altogether because I was gonna watch it on YouTube, but then the trailer was like 3.5, 4 minutes long. I'm
Oh,
like, oh no, that's way too much.
got you, got you.
I might as well just watch the movie at that point.
Oh yeah, Dale. I mean, Dale, that's actually smart though. I should start doing that. Sometimes I feel as though I should go into something cold turkey. Yeah, because I
Uh-huh.
love when a trailer sometimes really does give too much away. You already can see what's coming, or you already know bits and pieces of what's coming.
Yeah, yeah. You know, or they'll give away like major story points, and it's like,
Exactly,
that
exactly.
should have been a surprise. Like like with the latest Fast and Furious movie, for instance, they gave away who was coming back to the franchise.
Oh
Yeah,
yes, yes, yes,
yeah.
yes. I
I'm
think
not
so
a big
far
fan.
the recent trailer, one of the trailers I can recall that did a really good job of you not knowing what at all it was about was Barbarian. They did a really good job with their trailer. You had no idea what that film was going to be about.
I might have to check that trailer out because I've seen the movie, but I've never seen the trailer.
Yeah,
I
they
just
did a
kind of
good
heard people
job.
talking about it,
Mm-hmm. Yep.
and
No idea.
yes. Yeah, I'll have to check that one out. Now, I asked you that question about who got who into horror. I had the same question, but about tea.
Oh my goodness. It is so funny. Like, again, this is where I'll kind of go back to my mother too. My mother historically was always someone, for the most part, like when you were sick, she always made you a hot tea, lemon ginger tea with honey in it. And so I
Mhm.
think that a part of just that recall was when we were sick, we always felt incorporated it with wellness, right? And then my mother always had like and she still does. It's so funny, a bowl of miscellaneous tea bags, different flavors. And so
Okay.
it just kind of was something from very little till now. We just kind of expanded on it. Like we really got into loose leaf teas and different blends, and we found a really cool tea cafe up here that we're in Massachusetts that we're in love with. So I'm gonna kind of link it to that. It was just something we automatically. It was a comfort, if you will,
Okay.
initially, and then we kind of just expanded on that.
Okay. So do you now I hear you guys all the time and watch your stuff and listen to your stuff, and it always sounds like hot tea. Do you guys ever do any cold teas?
Oh my gosh. So we do hot tea primarily, even in this heat. I kid you not, Dill.
Wow.
Same thing with coffee. It's still going to be hot. But I have gotten into ice sweet tea. Like, so
Uh-huh.
that's been
Uh-huh.
that's been really good, but not as often as the hot tea, I must say. Me and Mika will still have that kettle on like literally every single night.
Wow. Wow. I like tea. But I like my tea cold more often.
Oh, that's okay. Yep.
And
That's still
I
good.
grew up with my mom too. When I was 6, she would give me hot tea.
See? Yeah.
And for us, it was just usually just milk and sugar, or sometimes
Oh,
honey.
yeah. Yeah.
To give one of her secrets away, when she drank tea, though, it was always with a little bit of rum.
Oh, I love
So
it.
as a kid, sometimes she would, not finish the cup all the way.
Got
And
you.
when you're a kid, you everyone, hey, mom's got
Sample
this.
it.
Let me take a sip. So you take a sip, and it's like, whoa, that's not like the tea I drank.
That'll wake you up. Yeah.
That will definitely wake you up. Let's see who's hanging out with us out here
Oh,
in the
yeah.
chat tonight.
I haven't even looked at the chat. That's cool.
All right, we got Caveman Movies and More. He just wanted to say, hey, catch the replay.
Ooh.
Caveman is actually competing on Bob's channel right now, so I
Ooh,
know he's
very
not in the
nice.
chat. He's in the steel books and slipcovers battle that's going on over
Ooh, good
there.
luck.
Yep, good luck. Adrian is here. What's going
Oh,
on, Adrian? It's
Adrian.
Ty
Love
Dillon here.
Adrian.
Caveman left us one more message. He says, smash the like button before you leave.
Yes, please do.
Yep. And I'm going to assume that this is the
Oh,
other half. This is
the
Mika.
better half of me. Yes,
Hi,
the
everyone.
double.
KB is in the building. Says,
Oh,
what's
hey,
up, brother Dell? Good evening, sis
KB.
Kira.
Love KB.
Yep. And he had a great stream the other night. Last night, matter of fact. Master of all movies, press.
Hello.
If you're not familiar with if anybody's not familiar with her, that's Sarah. She has a great channel also. She says, hey.
Love it. Hey.
And she says, hey, directly to you.
Oh, hello. Love.
Smirk 88. What's up, Dell and Kira? Can't wait to hear the nice discussion. Well, hang in there, Smirk. We're going to get to it in just a little bit. We got some little bit of back and forth. And Mika, yes, Ellen Bernstein.
Oh, yes, yes, yes.
Now, I'm a little more excited to see it now because I did not know she was coming back.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, so I'm a little more pumped about that. And again, we got some back and forths there. And Mika says that's what sold it. Ellen, yeah.
Oh, exactly.
No doubt. No doubt.
Legendary.
Yeah. The heat doesn't stop the hot tea drinking. Yeah, I heard it. Ooh, you guys are better than me. I can't drink hot drinks in the summertime. I can't.
Oh, wow, Dill.
I try. Yeah. I'll drink more coffee than tea, but once the spring starts warming up, I'm like, nope, I'm done until fall. I'm
Oh, wow.
good on coffee until fall, pretty much.
Yeah, we're 24/7 here.
I hear you. Dell, is your people from the Caribbean? Yes. Yeah. My father's side of the family is from Bermuda. Now I'm curious as to what brought on that question.
Oh, KB is going to have to expand on that.
Yeah, and see, I know that when he has guests on, he researches. So
Oh my gosh, yes, yes, yes. He
I'm almost
does.
afraid as to what he might have found, but
Does his homework.
yeah, he does a lot of homework. So yeah, let me know what brought on that question.
Well,
Did
I'm
I,
curious, KB.
yeah, do I have a little bit going on in my voice tonight? Is there something happening? He said that's why the English prep of tea. Okay. All right. So yeah. All right. So let's go ahead and get into the reason why we're here. I will let you go ahead and tell the good people out there what movie you recommended for me to watch.
Oh yes. So the film that I recommended Dell watch was Terms of Endearment. Starring the incomparable Shirley MacLaine and Deborah Winger. And then we also have a very young, everyone was young in this film. It came out in 1983. Jeff Daniels. Oh my gosh, and the legendary Jack Nicholson. And the best way I could describe this film, I'm curious to see how you would describe it, Dell, is it kind of really circles around Shirley MacLaine's character, Aurora, and her daughter, who's played by Deborah Winger's character, and their relationship. From the early onset of the film, you can show that they were very much intertwined. They are very close, share a very strong bond, and it kind of really circles their lives together and their connection throughout the years. And so you're watching Aurora kind of come into her own as a mother, a widow, a mother, and then living on her own. There's a lot of self-discovery there. And then her daughter, who leaves home, gets married, has children, ends up diagnosed with cancer, and kind of what that entails and looks like. I don't want to give too much away. I'm pretty sure a lot of people probably have seen the film, and if not, hopefully it can encourage you to see it. But yeah, that's the best way I would describe it. It's kind of a dramedy, so there's a lot of comedic moments, but it's at its core a drama. And it really just overall is the relationship between a mother and daughter and what that looks like.
All right. So I would say when we talk about categorizing the film, I think you did a pretty good job. Dramedy really pretty much sums it up. And we meet them. You talked about their relationship. We meet them though as that relationship is being tested really for the first time, probably.
Right. Yep.
And well, I wouldn't say tested for the first time because you can tell that there's some strain in the relationship between the two of them.
Yes.
But the main problem now is that Emma, the daughter, is getting married, and the mom does not like the guy she's getting married to.
Yes, Jeff Daniels' character. Yes.
Right. She is not a fan of Flap.
Yeah.
And I hated that name. Oh my god. I was like, what who wrote this? Why
Oh yeah. You don't hear that at all. I don't
name?
think. I've never heard it.
He couldn't have been Fred, Frank.
Gotta spice it up, Dill. Make you remember it. Yeah.
But I was like, okay, if that's Flap what we got, that's what we got. So yeah, their relationship starts off, it's a little rocky because Emma decides, well, this is the man I love, this is who I'm gonna marry, lump it or love it. And not only do they get married, but they move away because he has a teaching job in another state.
Mm-hmm.
And this so their relationship, like I said, is kind of strained at that point. And I was interested in that relationship, but the relationship they showed me more of was her and her husband. So I'm curious, what did you think about Emma, and her own husband, Jeff Daniels' character, Flap? What did you think of their relationship at the beginning? Not necessarily at the end.
Not the ends, yeah. At the beginning, it was almost like I could totally see the foreshadowing. You did initially know if he was going to be a good husband or not. Like, I know Aurora, Emma's mother, had some foreshadowing about she was making a mistake, that he's not the right person for her. And then that kind of came to fruition a bit in regards to how their marriage initially started. I feel like it was kind of a period of enlightenment. Like, they were in like with one another. It was very much, you saw them seemingly connected.
Mm-hmm.
But very much he didn't seem to be as invested in this relationship as the film progressed. And then you definitely see his infidelities and him kind of maligning and checked out of the relationship. She was more, in my opinion, in the beginning, the present parent taking more interest in that role and really wanting more from him in the relationship that he was giving her initially. So to me, the beginning part, I disliked Flap quite a bit, honestly.
Okay, okay. And I'm with you actually because he yeah, he was kind of, full speed ahead on the thing he wanted to do without
Mhm.
really considering, the ramifications at home. It was like,
Exactly.
okay,
Yep. Yep.
this is what we're doing, or this is what I'm doing, and
Mhm.
you're just gonna follow me here or follow me there.
Yep.
Um Now, to be honest with you though, to flip it back to the other end, I wasn't a big fan of Emma either.
Oh, I'm curious. Why, Dale? I wonder. I don't want to assume.
Well, for me, one of the things was they were complaining about how much money he was or wasn't making.
Got it. Yep.
And I get it, it's a little bit different time. But even so, like one of the things that just kept bothering me, because they're complaining about it, she's calling mom to ask for money and doing, having being embarrassed at the grocery store where she didn't
Oh,
have enough money to
yes.
pay
I
for the
see.
groceries,
Mhm.
and that leads to something
Right.
else altogether.
Yep.
But at that point, my practicality just kind of kicked in, and it was like, you can get a job. You can get one too. And that's where I was, and that thought never seemed to occur to her, not one bit. And it didn't occur to Flap either, but Flap wasn't worried about much of anything. So I wasn't a huge fan of her at that point. And to be honest, it didn't really get better as the movie went on, as far
Right.
as her
Okay.
goes,
Okay.
and or either one of them. But I'll as we move along, I'll explain more. But that's where I was at the beginning, when they're going through all these struggles, and it was like, yeah, get a job.
Yeah, that was interesting, Dell, because I know it seemed like, and at least my takeaway from Aurora was, she wanted her to, like work, like be more than what she was in terms of like
Mhm.
getting pregnant, having children, and
Right.
almost without saying it, but saying it like settling for this life when even she thought she could be more and do more. And I try to be mindful of the times too. I don't know, the expectation in terms of being a stay-home mother, what that might be, or but I agree. There was definitely no force or will, if you will, to want to do something else.
Mhm.
If
Mhm.
anything, just wanting the family unit to be together.
Yeah, and for me, it plays back into my own experience because I was a teenager when this movie came out. I was about
Mm,
to be a teenager when this movie came out. So I do remember the time, but I also grew up with my mom being a single mom who was always working.
Burger, yes, same. Yep.
So it was like it wasn't computing to me. The math wasn't
Got
matching
it.
for
No,
me.
I hear you. Same deal. That's one thing that always has stood out. Same thing. We grew up with our mother. Like our father definitely worked, of course, like always working around the clock. It was never like a period of time that we recall that they didn't work.
Mhm. Okay. Okay. So that's where I was with those two people. And then of course we get those shot times when we just go to over to Aurora's life. And I was a little more interested in that.
Oh, great. Yeah.
Because she was kind of going through some things and trying to figure some things out, and really honestly had a bunch of schlubby guys
Oh,
kind of pining over her,
yes. Oh my gosh.
including Danny DeVito,
Danny DeVito. Yes.
who I didn't know he was in this movie. Um,
Oh yeah.
so I
Yep.
was like, hey, there's Danny DeVito. But yeah, she was definitely kind of scraping the bottom of the pot there.
Oh,
As far
the male suitors.
they were all kind of, just I don't know, they were weird to me. I don't know.
Oh, I
But
agree. I agree.
yeah, so I was a lot more interested in what she was going on, and then her deal with the neighbor who was Jack Nicholson,
Oh
the
yes,
astronaut.
Karen. Yeah. Yep.
They kept calling him the astronaut because I
Yes.
guess he was an astronaut and at some point.
Yes.
And but he was a womanizer. So help me with that part, because she very clearly knew he was a womanizer, and when the two of them, whenever they spoke, it was combative.
Yes. Yes.
So help me from your standpoint, if you can, because I don't know if you can, but can you understand her attraction to him? I understand his to her. I don't really understand
Well, you
her
know,
story.
initially, I think like we get a little bit if you pay attention to it, understanding that they lived next door to each other for numerous years,
Right.
right? And
Uh-huh.
so you when I kind of imagine maybe there was probably these small exchanges. So she probably seen a lot of comings and goings and seeing him in passing day to day. And they also insinuated that many years ago he had asked her out too, and he probably got a flat out denial.
Right.
I think that the initial draw was in the film, for at least for me, was the call she had from her daughter when her daughter kind of highlighted the fact that she's been without a relationship or an intimate relationship for like a long period of time. And I
Mhm.
think that it was kind of just her um, forcing herself to kind of be spontaneous or forcing herself
Okay.
to kind of act out of the norm. But maybe there was this small attraction to him. I definitely think after that initial exchange and going out and so forth, there was this camaraderie. They did have a bond, even if they were completely opposite from one another. But I kind of took the first initial like act as being just spontaneous and trying to go with the flow and just being something, not necessarily loving Garrett's character at
Okay.
first.
Okay, okay, that makes sense. And like I said, I was having a hard time putting my finger on it. Now, once they started interacting a little more, it was fine.
Yeah.
It was just that I was like, why him? Why?
Oh, I get it. I get it. Yeah. Yeah, he's
Yeah,
just like a playboy, like a womanizer, kind of out there a bit, like
right.
free, like no inhibitions, in stark contrast of Aurora's character for sure.
Right, and not just a womanizer. He was always bringing home women that were like half his
Oh,
age.
half his age. Yes, you got to highlight that.
Yeah.
Yes, still true. Yeah.
All right, let's see if we got a few more people. Evo Live says, "Hey everybody, how you doing?"
Hello.
All right. We got Hey Tyrone. So I'm guessing, is that Evo's name? I'm not really
Yes,
sure.
yes, it is. Yeah.
Okay. Well, hello, Tyrone.
Yeah.
Nice to have you here with us. He's saying hi back to Mika. And Love Terms of Endearment. It remains one of our top 10 films of all time. Okay. This did let everybody know this did win Best Picture in 1983. I think it was 1983 that won Best
Oh, and
Picture.
fun fact: a lot of people don't know there is a sequel. I just have to highlight that The Evening Star. If people haven't had an opportunity to see that,
I did not know that.
yes,
Okay.
it actually brings. I feel like it comes in full circle. It shows Aurora actually raising the kids and seeing them as adults, etc.
Okay.
Pretty good.
Okay. Interesting. Interesting. Amika says to Aurora, Flap is not deserving of Emma. Now that much is definitely the case. That is definitely the case. She like you were saying though,
Mhm.
she thought Emma could be so much more than Flap's wife, but she just wasn't quite doing it. The will just wasn't really there.
Yeah.
Um and yes, loved Aurora's trio of men.
Oh my goodness, that
Yeah,
trio.
they were characters, that's for sure. And Slim Pickings, LOL, yes, absolutely Slim Pickings. All right. So as the movie goes on, we get to see there's a lot more distance growing between Flap and Emma. And I'm trying not to spoil it too bad
Oh,
in case
gotcha. Yeah, it's hard. It's hard. Yeah.
watching it. It's hard, but oh, we can talk about this one. She basically she meets another man, and one thing leads to another. Um, then later on, we find out some things about Flap on the other end. Is that something? Well, for both of them, is there something you could see coming, or the first time you saw it, not recently, of course, but is that something you kind of picked up on? Was like, oh yeah, this is gonna happen. She's gonna.
Well, in regards to Emma's character, I didn't foresee her actually being unfaithful. Honestly, I definitely sensed that with Flap's character. Like there was a few times in the movie, she insinuated. Well, it was stated that he didn't come home, and he had these ridiculous excuses.
Right,
I remember, like, yeah, like he fell asleep at work on a couch, something like
right,
that. It was just like not believable. So I said, okay. avoiding eye contact, seemingly these ridiculous excuses, not coming home. Okay, if anything, you're being unfaithful. But I didn't necessarily see that coming with Emma. But I'm not surprised by it, more or less, because again, probably emotionally seeking to fill a void. Doesn't make it right on any account, but yeah, I definitely saw Flap, not Emma.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Flap. They pretty much put it out there that it was
Yeah,
this was
Joe,
kind of
right?
happening. Like you said, his excuses were kind of flimsy, and not kind of. They were really flimsy, and just his just not spending time at home, pretty much
Exactly. Yeah.
with the family. Um. Now, speaking of the rest of the family, we have the kids that kind of
Oh,
come
yes, yes,
in
yes, yes.
increments. So, how did you feel about the kids? Do you think they were actually? I know they were important to the outcome of the story, but how do you think they worked through the movie?
Oh, well, I definitely like that they progressed them in terms of age throughout the film. And I
Mhm.
think the most pivotal, even though Teddy, the younger brother, I feel like the pivotal character in terms of the kids was Tommy. I think he gained the most perspective in regards to seeing the upheaval between the parents, and then honestly understanding like his mother being sick, and
Uh,
trying to have a rapport with his grandmother. I feel like his character more than anything took in the most. And so out of all the kids, he probably was the most affected, if that makes sense.
yeah, and
Um,
that's the oldest one,
the
right?
oldest one. I thought Teddy, the youngest son, was the sweetest. His demeanor was just like kind-hearted. And then Melanie as the baby, I just felt like nothing really touched her, of course, just based off
Right,
the
right,
age. Yeah.
right. Yeah, pretty much just because of her age.
Right.
And it took me a while to warm up to the kids because it felt like they were kind of placeholders for time. They were just kind of like time markers
Got you, yeah.
for early parts of the movie. It was
Oh,
like,
some of the scenes, yeah.
yeah, it was like, okay, there's a kid. Now we have two kids, so now we've moved a few years ahead, and now we got
Yep,
another kid. Here's a few more years,
exactly,
and
yep.
so it took me a while to warm up to them. But like the second half of the movie, I thought they did a pretty good job of getting them involved, especially the oldest, getting them involved and giving them some emotion.
Mhm.
And I thought a big couple of big scenes actually were one where Emma and Flap are having a big argument in the house, and we see the two boys sitting
Oh,
outside
yeah, yep.
on the steps on the porch, and the oldest gets up, and he starts walking away, and the younger one's like, "Hey, mom said not to move. We're supposed to be
Right.
right here." He's like, "She's stay here if you want to." And just kind of walks off, and then his
Yeah,
brother, of course, followed him.
follows them, yep.
Yeah, and then another scene later on, which probably wouldn't fly in 2023, was where this was at the near the very end with between the oldest and with Aurora, and she kind of went upside his head a few times
Mhm.
for some of the things that he was saying.
Yes, yep.
And I thought those were big scenes for me. I don't know if you had any
Oh,
if
no, I
those were big
agree,
scenes for
I
you.
agree. Yep, standouts.
Yeah, yeah, those were pretty big. Um, as far as standouts, or any other standout scenes
Ooh,
for
let me
you?
think. Oh, you know which one that I thought was hilarious was, I have to say I did enjoy the supermarket scene, from her being in the line to
Yeah,
her pushing the groceries outside and reprimanding Tommy to go to the car. Like I that literally had me in stitches with her yelling, "The car, Tommy, the car!" I was like,
yeah.
"Oh my gosh!" Like that scene is like a favorite of mine. I also like some of the scenes. I really do like the exchanges between Aurora and Emma, just the phone calls, because it made me even think about today. Nowadays we are so kind of disconnected in how we communicate. So we
Mhm.
send texts sometimes, or we go long time frames without actually talking to people. That I really love the scenes when they were speaking to one another, even if it wasn't always pleasant. It was just that daily thing, that ritual of connecting with one another. So those scenes throughout the film were always like heartwarming, even when it was difficult subject matter. And it's like you can tell they looked forward to it, and they could pick up on each other's in terms of what they were going through, just based off of like how each other sounded. So I feel like those scenes stand out to me for sure throughout the film.
Yeah, those
Oh, the
were
hospital scene too with Aurora. Like,
yeah, the hospital scenes were interesting. Those scenes were with them talking. I'm glad you brought that up. But yeah, you make a great point about the difference between communication then and now,
oh yeah,
because it's yeah, you had to talk to somebody on the phone,
exactly.
and
Yeah,
the only inhibition to that communication was how often one of you called the other one.
exactly, Dell. Yep,
Whereas
exactly.
now, even now, like I have brothers and sisters,
Hmm.
and I will text them far more than I'll actually talk to them.
Yeah. See.
And
Yeah.
yeah, and I mean, we try to do a pretty good job. We do communicate. We do actually talk sometime, but I will definitely be texting them a lot more than I actually talk to them. So yeah, I definitely understand that. Another great scene for me was the first time when Aurora and the neighbor Jack Nicholson
Oh my
when
gosh, was that when they went out on the first date,
yes,
the
they went
car
out on a
ride?
date, and yeah, the date, and then later on after when she invites him over,
Oh my,
a couple
yes,
of scenes
yes,
later. So those scenes, I thought those are also really good scenes.
agreed.
And Nicholson, he does what Nicholson does, so
A
he kind of killed
legend,
it in this.
yes. Oh
Yeah,
yeah, scene stealer. Jack Nicholson is.
he was definitely that. From Aurora was the anchor of the film, I thought. Um, and yeah, I thought she was the anchor of the film, and McLean was great, no doubt about that. I thought all the performances were really good in
Oh,
the
great deal.
film.
Yeah, I'm glad you
Any
liked it.
standouts for you in that arena?
100% Shirley MacLaine as Aurora. I agree with you. She was the anchor of the film. And I think for the most part all of the characters kind of started with her, stemmed around her.
Yeah,
I definitely genuinely loved Jack Nicholson's character. I think he was a compliment to the film, and especially Aurora's character. Um and I'm trying to think, is there anyone else in particular in the film that stood out for me? Gosh, I mean, everyone was good, but I think in terms of stellar, Jack Nicholson and Shirley MacLaine for sure.
yeah, for sure. I would definitely say that. Let's see what any if anybody else is talking about the movie here. Mike Snow, Jack Nicholson is the only thing I like in this flick.
Ooh, Mike! Wow,
Okay, Mike.
I love Jack too. So,
Yeah, no, hey, no problem with that. Aurora and Garrett to me have great chemistry. I think he is so out of her comfort zone that it works.
mm,
Yes, they did have great chemistry, and it helps when you two great actors.
oh,
Um,
true,
but
yes, for
yeah, they
sure.
definitely did have a good chemistry. It was just it was funny and antagonistic when they were together.
Oh yeah.
Tracy's here, nerdy film girl. Says, "Hey guys, great show and great guests. Thank you."
Oh, thank you.
All right, and we're talking about the cheating here. Mika says, "I saw that infidelity was on the horizon. Flat was checked out of home and his obligations. They were very disconnected with the arguing. They married young and had unrealistic expectations."
Ooh, great observation, Double. Couldn't have
That
said it
is a
better
great
myself. Yes.
that is a great observation, and yeah, he had definitely checked out. It's weird though when you say he checked out of his obligations. I think if you had asked Flap, he was taking care of his obligations.
Oh, do you mean Dell in terms of work and
Yeah,
trying to
yeah.
provide?
If you had asked him that, yes, yes, and his feeling probably would have been that, yeah, I'm doing what I'm supposed to do as far as that goes, but my wife is just kind of browbeating me all the time, or not
Oh,
understanding me. I
so more or
think
less you feel probably like as a no win-win situation for him at
yeah,
all. Yeah.
yeah. I'm just saying that's what I think he might be. He might say. 'Cause-
Oh, Dell, I sometimes, if you could go back and like add a scene or like add something to a film.
Mhm.
I think in terms of Jeff Daniels' character, it would have been great if like you could have gained maybe an extra scene or two with him actually being able to have some dialogue about like what he thought was his failings or his inner thoughts, like kind of give him a little bit more room there.
Right, right, and that would have added a extra dimension to his character because I thought his character was kind of flat. He was just, he was definitely, trying to they were trying to portray him definitely as kind of an absentee dad and husband.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, but it left him as a flat character. He didn't, fully develop. So yeah, I agree with you. A scene, one or two scenes, not much, but one or
Right.
two scenes, just kind of where he gets to say something.
Yeah, exactly. Say something like, yeah, so a little bit more dialogue, not too much, but there could have been room for maybe an extra scene.
Yeah, there could have been room for an extra scene because we have a lot of scenes of Emma by herself or just with the kids and going through the things that they're going through, and so we get to understand her pretty well.
Hmm.
But yeah, giving some of that to Flap, I think would have helped out. Uh, Mika saying hey to Tracy. And here, yes, great use of comedy in this film, which at times can be very heavy with the subject matter.
Hmm.
And I think it kind of got heavier as it went on.
Definitely.
Yeah, it definitely got heavier as it went on. Apparently, McClane and Deborah Winger didn't get along making this. I'd heard
I
that
heard that.
before.
I did hear that.
Yeah, and that's always interesting because you got this person that you don't get along with, but you got to work with, and they actually
Exactly.
did
Yeah.
have a pretty good chemistry
Yeah, they
too.
made it work.
Yeah, so and sometimes not liking somebody if especially if they know or if both parties know that you don't like each other, that is a sort of chemistry.
Yeah, you can work off it clearly.
Right, right, right. It's when uh we don't know how you feel about each other. Sometimes it kind of gets in that wonky space, or there's just no vibe at all.
Oh
But
yeah, I'm
I
always
think they made it
amazed by
work.
like on screen chemistry that works when like outside of that there was tension or maybe animosity. They were able to
Right,
pull it off. Yeah.
right. And it's weird though because at least for me anyway, sometimes it works in reverse. It's I've seen movies where there are people who are actually couples, but on the screen they didn't really have chemistry.
Oh, now look at that. That's interesting.
And for me, for instance, that was the case with Andrew Garfield and Emma Stone in the Spider-Man
Oh, look
movies.
at that.
They were
I heard,
dating at the time, but
yeah.
I never felt any chemistry between them.
Wow. And Del, I heard people reference Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman as well in Eyes Wide Shut. It was
Yeah,
quite like
yeah,
weird to kind of witness their dynamic. Seemed off
yeah,
to most
yeah.
people. Yeah.
Similar, very,
Yeah.
very similar. Yeah. So, but yeah, not liking each other clearly worked out for them,
Yeah.
for Winger and McClane.
Yes.
Yep, and Mika didn't know that either. So it's great acting. You would have never known it.
Hmm.
And Mike agrees. True, their acting is very good. And we got Ken is in the house. What's going on, Ken?
Hello, Ken.
And everybody's saying hey to Ken.
Hmm.
And Mike, I didn't mean to be harsh or dismissive on this movie.
Oh no, Mike. I appreciate everybody's opinions.
Yeah, it is just not my thing, but it is objectively very good as a movie. All right, you're backtracking, Mike. I'm a little upset, a little disappointed here, Mike.
It's okay. Like everybody, that's what makes it like really good dialogue when people can have differences of opinions.
That's right. Stand on it, Mike.
Yeah,
Stand on it.
Mike. We appreciate it.
I'm just teasing, Mike. All right. And here, I was about to go into something, but we got an answer. Not dismissive at all, Mike. Love to hear your opinion.
Oh,
We
look at
aren't
that.
all going to love every movie, and Mike says thanks.
Agreed. Yes.
All right, yeah, we are truly not all going to like every movie because
Very true.
that would be boring if everybody liked all the same thing. That's for sure. All right, so we kind of spoiled it a little bit in that we know that Emma gets sick. We know that she gets cancer at
Yes.
the end of the movie.
Yes.
And when that happens, here is where my opinion of Flap was already low, and it just took another nosedive from this point on.
Yep.
Now,
Yep.
okay, so yeah, so you agree then?
I agree. I agree. I mean, honestly, it's sad to say, but I did not like Flap's character in this film. It was very hard for me to find any redeeming qualities. I mean, I will say, I think he realized at the end what his children needed and why Emma made the decision she did in terms of the kids. So I feel like, if anything, maybe that was the something him realizing. If that makes sense, Del.
it does, but I'm gonna push back a little bit
Oh, go ahead,
because
Dell.
my opinion on Emma didn't get better here either.
Oh, that's okay. Okay.
Because for and maybe you can help me out
Okay, I'll
because
try. I'll
the
try.
decision that she made with the kids, I get it, I understand her and
Okay.
Flap's relationship, but I thought the decision that she decided to make, it felt petty to me.
Oh, okay. You took it as petty.
Yeah, it felt petty to me, like, since you sucked as far as as I'm concerned, this is what's gonna happen after I'm gone. That's the way that's the way
Oh,
I
wow,
took it.
Dell. Well, you know what, Dell? I think that again, this is why there's different perspectives, right? I kind of looked at it as well, this is kind of how I took it as. I think that I like to think, I should say, I like to think Emma realized that her kids really need a steady presence
Mhm,
and someone who would be present, good or bad.
mhm.
And I really thought that she made the decision knowing that even though Aurora and her had their ups and downs at its core, there was love there, and she knew that that would transcend with her with the kids. I just felt
Okay.
like Flap would have been like almost like a flapjack for me in
Right,
terms
right,
of
right.
parenting, maybe vacant, maybe distant, maybe not present in every way that was needed. Um,
Okay. Okay,
that's not what
that
I
makes sense.
thought. I mean, maybe there was some pettiness in there.
Yeah. It makes sense, and then, of course, like, the way Flap took it was just like,
No, exactly.
he fought back for about a half a second, and
Half
then
a
it was like
second, Dill.
okay.
Exactly.
I saw
Yeah,
that.
like so. Come on, Dill. She made the right decision.
See, no, not that she was wrong,
Yeah.
not that she was wrong. It just still felt a little petty for me, and part of that again might be a personal thing. It might be, had I been in Flap shoes, I couldn't see me reacting the way he reacted.
Oh, I definitely wouldn't. Like I would have been honestly angry, upset, offended, and even the idea of someone else raising my children but me.
Yeah,
Um, that's kind of where I would have been coming from. He just seemed to kind of be like, ah,
exactly. That was kind of my whole deal with with that whole situation.
yes,
Yeah,
yes. So
it was
I honestly felt like I didn't necessarily foresee that was gonna happen, but I said you realize I was kind of like, oh, I totally would understand that.
okay.
I
Okay.
totally and then Dell, I should say, I definitely encourage you to watch The Evening Star. I would be interested to see what you think once you kind of get like see the raising of the kids or a little bit of how they are as adults. It's interesting. It kind of
Okay.
ties it in a little bit more.
How many you any I did not, I mean, not exact to the number, but was it fairly close in time to Terms of Endearment? Meaning,
Oh, not at all. So it ages like you're actually meeting Aurora with the kids as adults.
okay, so
Yeah, so
okay, so
I don't remember the exact year the Evening Star came out, but it definitely ages the kids. They're adults in this film, and Juliette Lewis is actually she plays Melanie's character.
oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. So it really is interesting to see kind of where Tommy ends up, how Teddy is, how Melanie is, and then you also get a cameo with Jack Nicholson again too. So that was pretty cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. All right. I'm gonna have to look that one up. All right, Mike. Totally agree with Dell and Kira on Eyes Wide Shut, and the Spider-Man movies with Garfield
Mhm.
and Emma Stone were not real. Where real life couples don't have much chemistry.
Yeah,
Yeah,
man.
they
Yeah.
just didn't sell it for me for those two couples there. I think the decision was based on the kids having stability, and yeah, that's what you said. And again, I might have been a little bit in my feelings, like, no,
It's
no,
pretty
that
down.
we
There could have
can't
been
do
a little
this.
pettiness, maybe.
Yeah. And she continues, I think it was really big of Flap to realize he couldn't do it. Deep down, he knew it was the best decision. Now
Maybe
that's interesting.
well, and now Dale, and maybe I mean that brings up an interesting perspective, Mika. I wonder if I mean again, maybe the okay or the not fighting is knowing that it probably maybe it is the best decision. Like when you think
Uh-huh.
about it, was he equipped to parent those three young children? Was he up for it? Could he honestly do it? As much
Yeah,
as he didn't like Aurora, I think maybe there was a piece of him that knew that was the right place for them to be.
that is a very fair question. No doubt about it. That is a completely fair question. Now, knowing what little I know about Flap just through the movie, I'm gonna throw this one back at you though. Was he thinking that, or was he thinking now I have freedom and I can go be
Well, now, Del,
with
yes. Now,
homegirl?
here's the thing, Del, right? We open for interpretation. I think the way he didn't put up a fight is kind of like, oh, okay, that's great. Like, the kids will actually be safe. The kids will be with someone that he knows clearly. So,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, maybe there's a piece of him too that he never really had to have the responsibility because Emma took on that role.
Right.
And maybe wasn't even equipped or ready to do this. So it could be basically, yeah, Mike freedom, if you will. That could be part of it too.
Okay. Okay.
I wouldn't negate that. It is flat.
Yeah. That is. Yeah. That was. Ooh, yeah. If you can't tell, Flap just really hurt my
Oh,
nerves.
yeah. Low on my list there.
Yeah, and Mika says it came out 13 years after the
Oh,
first film,
okay,
so
okay.
guess 96, I guess. Sounds
96
like.
then. Okay, yep. So
Yeah, I'm surprised I hadn't. If I had heard of it, it really
yeah,
clearly just.
a lot of people didn't know there was a sequel. Like you're not alone in this. So many people that we like friends, family didn't know there was a part two. I'm like, oh my god, yes, you guys.
Yeah, and for me, the reason is watching this movie. It feels like it should be over. It shouldn't.
I get that.
It
Yeah.
shouldn't be another part. The story is told that I really want told. So, I mean, I get it. The kids are gonna grow up, and some people wanted to see that. So I'll check it out. But like I said, didn't the film feels complete? But I will say this: the film doesn't always feel like a film to me. It feels like episodes.
Oh,
So the
interesting. Yeah,
whole time I was watching this, I was like, this should be a Netflix series or Amazon Prime series where we can get, some of these scenes fleshed out and blown up a little
Oh, now
more.
that would have that's all. Oh, now think about that, Adele. Like it's interesting, like in terms of like a movie like that could actually be expanded on and
Mhm.
developed more in terms of. I could see it. Well, I don't want to see it because that would make me nervous too. I
Yeah.
could see in terms of endearment series, but I'm also scared about that. Like, that would be.
Yeah, I honestly I don't well, I can't say they won't do it, but I
Oh
don't
my
think
gosh,
they'll
we're
do
putting
it
it out
now.
there, Dale. They're gonna do it. Yeah.
But yeah, but if it had come out now, I think it would have been a series rather than a movie.
Oh, interesting. Oh, yeah, I could actually see that though. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And Mika is chiming in. No one really knows that there is a sequel.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
I had no clue. I had no clue whatsoever. Um, all right, so we're gonna get ready to close this movie out. So I am going to go into my overall thoughts
Oh yes.
on terms of endearment, whether I liked it, disliked it, and why, and all those sorts of things.
Okay, Dell. Ready to
All
hear
right.
it.
So I didn't really like it.
That's okay. It's okay.
And a lot for the reasons that I gave, and
Mhm.
it boils down really for me to I didn't like anybody in this movie. Well, not anybody. I did not like Flap or Emma, and their motivations were just upside down for me, just
Okay.
constantly.
Okay.
And so then at the end, when what happens at the end, I was kind of like, okay. I mean, that part's sad, but I never got to
Fully
like her.
invest in like the characters.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, I never could really fully get invested in her. Now I didn't hate the movie. It was very well acted, it was well written. And like I said the performances were really good across the board. Uh, I did like the Shirley MacLaine storyline, and I don't know. Maybe if the story were told a little more from her perspective, which it sounds like the Evening Star is her
Oh yeah,
perspective.
so that might be more of what
So
you're
I'm
looking for.
definitely
Yeah.
curious to check that out. Um, so this movie I'll probably not return to. I did want to see it, so because
Yes, check that off.
yeah,
Yep.
check it off. It's one of those movies that won Best Picture that I hadn't seen. I've seen a little
Hmm.
more than half, and I'm slowly working my way through the rest
Oh,
of them.
nice, nice, Dell.
So
Yes.
so when this was on your list, it was like, oh, okay, there's another Best Picture winner.
There you go. A reason to watch it. You got to
Reason to
see
watch
it.
it, and I am definitely glad I watched it. It just wasn't my cup of tea to
Oh, look at
go
that.
through. All right.
Love it. Oh no, but that's great, Della. I'm glad. I definitely appreciate your perspective and takeaway, and I
Mhm.
definitely have taken in kind of even the your what stood out for you. But I'm glad you got to watch it. It's always good to kind of just delve into something you haven't seen, especially you've been wanting to.
Yeah,
So I appreciate your
absolutely.
perspective takeaway.
Absolutely. So we can go ahead and switch over to the other movie.
Okay.
And what I did not realize at the time that we picked these movies was that they're actually really good companion pieces.
Oh, right, Del. I could, yes,
They're
yes,
they're they're they kind of touch on the same kind of thing, um, from different eras though,
yes, yes.
and take a different tact to what's going
Definitely.
on.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. I'm gonna go solo for just a second.
Okay.
But the movie that I suggested for Kira is Tully, which stars Charlize Theron, and I am a mark for Charlize Theron, no doubt. So I will watch anything that she's in. I think she's always fantastic, and I thought she was fantastic again. Here we'll discuss more of that. But the movie is about a this young woman here, played by her, and she is married, has already has a couple of kids, and has one on the way. So a third child is on the sorry about that, guys. But her third child is on the way. So we meet her then, and once the child is born, there's all sorts of problems. She's basically dealing with postpartum depression. On top of that, her son Jonah is he's autistic, but they never really say that in the movie.
Mhm.
They just keep saying quirky. But he's having all sorts of issues in school, and so she's dealing with that. And her husband is we'll talk about him, but he's kind of almost like he's not quite like Flat, but there are some similarities. Let's put it that way. And all right, so movie opens up and we meet her. She's very pregnant,
Yes.
about to have this baby.
Mhm.
And could you tell how she was feeling going in, or was this kind of a surprise for you
Well, you know what?
as it came on?
Initially, I didn't know what to expect, Dell. So I am glad that I chose this movie. Again, I absolutely love Charlize Theron as well. There's not a film she's been in that I haven't seen where her acting has been top notch, like she's delivered. But no, I think the opening of the scene, we find her almost like brushing or like going through this almost like a habit, this ritual with her son Jonah that you mentioned. So I wasn't I knew right off the bat that potentially there was a rationale to why she was doing this with him, and I
Mhm.
had all automatically thought that potentially there might be something. So I thought autism, honestly, right just from that. But
Right.
I didn't think that she was someone initially experiencing any type of depression
Mhm.
or issues. I'll say that.
Okay. And I failed to mention something which is kind of key to the movie. She is other people have kind of picked up on her not being herself, so to speak, and
Yes.
especially her brother.
Oh,
And
yes, a brother. Yep.
yeah, and he suggests that they hire a night nanny,
Night
and
nanny.
he
Yep.
offers to pay for the night nanny because he's well off. And that is, if anyone doesn't know what that is basically someone who's going to be a nanny at night while the parents get to sleep. And she would like if the baby needs to be fed, since mom is breastfeeding, she would wake up mom for that, but then mom can
Mhm.
go right back to sleep
Right.
while the nanny stays with her. And so about halfway through the film, maybe a little less than halfway, but a night nanny does come in named Tully. So
Mhm.
that's where the title of the movie comes from. And Tully appears. What you think of Tully?
Okay. So Mackenzie Davis, who's also a really good actress,
Mhm.
plays the character Tully. Um, at first I didn't know what to make of her character, but I automatically loved her. I felt
Mhm.
like, oh my gosh, she's introduced and she's going to be the saving grace to Marlo, Charlize Theron's character. I
Right.
just felt like you didn't know what to expect from her, but like from the moment she was introduced that first night, I was like, oh my God, I like her. And she hasn't even done anything yet. So I definitely felt like there was an instant spark and connection there, even though Charlize's character Marlo didn't know what was the expectation, like what did she do, how was she going to help, what is it going to look like. But I loved her character. I think that she was almost like of course you'll learn a little bit more, but divine intervention for Marlo's character when she needed it the most.
She definitely felt like it.
Yeah, she did. Like I wanted a night nanny, and I don't have kids. I was like, oh, cleaning, making cupcakes. I said, oh my god, I need her.
Yeah, she was doing a little bit of everything.
She was doing everything.
Yeah,
Yes.
and in Charlize, in Charlize Theron, you could see in her character, how it was beneficial to her and everyone around
like,
her. Even
they're almost coming back to life. Like you saw her actually. I kind of described it as dragging through the day to day. Like you could just see the pressures of she has her daughter that is seemingly normal, right? But probably trying to navigate giving her attention, and then Jonah, who requires so much, dealing with the school, who like just aren't being supportive by any means, in my opinion.
Right.
And she's just kind of dragging her husband, like you said, not like Flap, but like Flap in the ways of oblivious to kind of what she's dealing with. I wanted to kind of take that game control out of his hand. Once in the movie, they'll just hit him over the head with this game control. Like if you don't turn this game off, take that headset off, and pay attention to what's going on, I'm gonna hit you with this controller.
I'm with you. I look, because she was going through so much, and he just put the headsets on and
yes, Dale going through it, and he was so oblivious.
He was completely oblivious, and it's interesting for me because I haven't played video games in years, but I used to play video games quite a bit, and I remember nights where I would have my son. My son is my oldest, and I would have my son, and I would be playing Madden, but he'd be in my lap, so I'd be kind of doing this number.
Yeah.
But I was there. I was with him.
Yeah, you were there. Yeah.
So I understood. All right, wife needs some time here, so I'm, I can play the game because he's an infant, but he's still here, and I'm involved that way.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Did you remember the scene? Oh my gosh, I feel like the new baby. It kind of did before the night nanny. Just those scenes of the baby crying and him not moving an inch, just literally in a dead sleep, like not moving. I was like, oh wow, okay, you're not gonna get up at all, not even once. Okay.
Yeah. Now I will say this, because I'm by no means perfect. So I'm a heavy sleeper. So my wife, if she were next to me, she would tell you that she would have to physically wake me up for me to get up and help. And so I will own up to that one.
So you're gonna give Drew a pass a little bit for the
sleeping part, only for the sleep, because I get it. Once I'm asleep, I'm dead to the world. But there were definitely times when my wife, she did wake me up. She's like, your turn. You got to go. So he never got that at all.
Right.
So that never
she didn't even do that. Yeah.
Right. She was, and that's part of the deal with her. She was definitely trying to take on so much by herself.
Definitely.
And even to the point where she was initially, like, she was refusing help from her brother and cursing out the people at the school.
Oh yeah.
And I understand. I understand both sides. I understand where she was coming from and where the school was coming from, because they just weren't equipped to deal with him.
Right.
Is what it boils down to. And they never really came out and said, which was the silly part. But she was trying to take on so much, and it was just taking so much of a toll on her. And then she gets this nanny, and it seems to change everything for her.
Yes.
And so they seem to be growing closer as the movie went on. Her and the night nanny seems to be just getting closer and bonding. And what'd you think of their relationship between the two of them?
It was interesting because I definitely think initially it was more with Marlo's character observing this woman, kind of just trying to figure out, okay, what's this all about? Like like trying to figure her out, if you will. Like how did you get this job? What are you doing in your day to day? There was even some admiration in terms of just that youth, her being like kind of this wild, carefree being, if you will. And at parts, it felt like Marlo kind of envied her that, and it really made her reminisce about like when she was young. But then again, every time you saw, the more you were like reintroduced to Tully coming, and every scene they just kind of grew closer. You know what I mean? In my opinion, like she was able to Marlo divulge more, share more openly. For the first time, had someone that really seemed like an active listener, and she could say anything she wanted to say without fear of judgment or ridicule or anything. So I think for the most part, they really did have mutual respect for one another. At some parts, I was kind of taken aback. There was one scene where, Marlo was saying that her and her husband hadn't been intimate in forever. And then she had told, Tully had told her, well, tell me what he likes.
Yeah.
And then it was almost like the scene where she was kind of role playing, and I was like, oh my god, is this like a threesome? What is going on?
Yeah, what's happening? Yeah,
what was happening, right? So sometimes I felt like, oh wow, they're really in this together. But yeah, I thought that they did get extremely close, but it was almost like a mirror looking at herself maybe from another time long ago.
Right. All right. And I'm gonna continue on that path in just a second. I want to see what we have out here, what the people are saying. Mika, I would love to hear what you think when you see the Evening Star. Yeah, I will let you know. I will let you know, because I am curious now as to what happens in that film. Mike, I'm actually a huge fan of Charlize Theron too, and I did like this film quite a bit.
Oh, great, Mike.
Cool. And Mackenzie Davis and Ron Livingston are always good, though.
Oh,
Always
agreed,
good too.
Mike. Yes.
Yes, definitely. And Davis was amazing in this and Terminator Dark Fate.
Oh, yes, another movie I just gonna throw in there, Dell. Always Shine is so underrated. So Mike, Dale, if you haven't seen that with Mackenzie Davis, watch that. It's like a thriller suspense. I think you both would enjoy
I haven't
it.
heard that one. Always Shine.
Very good. Always Shine. Yes, I think it came out in 2018, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
Yeah, it's really good.
I actually like Terminator Dark Fate more than most people.
I liked it. I did like that one.
Yeah, so I will say she was also good in that. But Always Shine, one I hadn't heard of, so I'll be on the lookout.
Oh, so underrated. Definitely watch it if you guys get a chance.
Yeah, I think A Night Nanny sounds divine. Yeah, I mean it does, no doubt. And such validation to be heard. I think Tully provided that. She absolutely did provide that. So now you mentioned that they're in it together. And okay, without spoiling it, did you figure it out?
Oh, absolutely not. But you know, when I thought that it was when I knew potentially what was going on, I will say okay, without giving this away, the drive back from the city. Does that help, Dale?
That does help.
Okay. So that's when I was like, oh wow, is this what okay? Yes.
Okay. Now, I have to ask that question because I've talked to some people, and that's when I figured it out. But I've talked to some people who say they figured it out much earlier.
Interesting.
Like, I couldn't.
Maybe I didn't either. I really didn't pick it up until initially like that. So I'd say more or less the city, when they were in the city a little bit, and then definitely that ride back.
Yeah, definitely the ride back, that's for sure. Or the events that start happening at the end. And this being a second watch for me, because I rewatched it.
Oh, great deal.
So for me, it was different watching it than the first time, because the first time you don't know what's going to happen. But the second time, it was like you're trying to pick up on clues.
Oh yeah, little things you might have missed along the way the first time. Yeah.
So I did pick up on some more. I did pick up on some along the way. It was like,
I'm gonna have to rewatch it again to see. Yeah.
Now somebody mentioned Charlize Theron. Well, I mentioned Charlize Theron's performance. What did you think of her in this movie?
Exceptional, but see, and I don't think I'm biased. I think Charlize Theron, you could give her honestly the yellow pages, and she would make you believe the contents. I feel like she's just an exceptionally great actress. She was vulnerable. She was authentic. You believed her when she was at her lowest. You believed her when she was at her highest. Like even that scene she did with her little daughter in karaoke.
Uh-huh.
There was this period of when she was just so low, like very depressed. And then you just saw her come to life in that scene. It's just like so believable. She made you feel every raw emotion this mother was going through. It was just believable. You felt that it was quite authentic. And I think that it was more authentic because you had a really great actress bringing this role to life.
Yeah, absolutely. That and you mentioned that scene. That was easily the cutest scene in
So
the movie.
cute. Yes. Oh my gosh. So
That
cute.
it was easily the cutest, and I really had a good time with that scene. And but it is important though that you mentioned how she's really just coming to life, like you said. She's really coming back to life. She's uh not dragging through the day, as you say, every single day. Every day was just the worst thing for her, and then
Oh yeah, and Dell, I hate to interject here, but while I have it on my head, one scene that was so powerful was, she had a daughter. She had and I keep forgetting the daughter's name. I feel so bad about that. And Jonah were in the car. She was dropping them off to school, and
Mhm.
just she was trying to explain to Jonah that the lot that she usually drops him off at was full. And just because he struggles, and there's this diagnosis where he hasn't been diagnosed, you just know there's maybe underlying behavioral issue or some type of disability that's
Right.
gone undiagnosed. And he is just relentless, and there's
Yeah.
nothing she can do, her daughter can do, and you just feel her feeling depleted, deflated, and not knowing what to do. And in the same breath, you see her being extremely late to this meeting, but ending up in the lot waiting for a parking space to open up just so he could calm down.
Yeah.
And I said,
Yeah.
"Oh wow, I'm exhausted by this scene." Like I physically was like, "Oh my god, what would I do?" I was just, whoo, there was a lot just to watch and be a witness to.
It was, and going back with Jonah though, another great scene with him was when he gets to his new school
Oh,
and he's
mhm.
kind of freaking out in the
Yes,
restroom, and we get the teacher that
yes.
shows up and kind of calms everything down for him. I thought that was a
Oh, so
fantastic
great,
scene.
Dill. And that's when you knew. I said, "Oh my god, he's in the perfect school. He's in the school he's supposed to be in."
Right, right.
Yes,
He's in a spot that can help him. So
exactly.
that was that was a big scene for me too. I was
Oh,
like,
hard. And
oh,
even in that scene, you could see Marlo just feel she was always so apologetic, probably on edge and worried about like, what is he going to do now? What are they going to say now? What's going to happen today? To just automatically real, oh, you don't have to apologize. There's nothing to apologize for. And like,
right.
in her face, just feeling like, oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. And all right, so let's go to we talked a little bit about the husband. We talked about him in particular. And what about their actual relationship? What would you think of that?
Well, initially, I felt like, oh my gosh, she needs to get out of this marriage. Honestly, I was just like, "Oh my gosh," because you know what really did it for me too is like you definitely learned that she was someone that was in a different, completely different type of relationship even prior to this marriage. I don't want to give too much away there, but it
Uh,
was almost just like, "Oh gosh," like she went maybe from this extreme, not extreme, but clearly a relationship that was probably she was maybe happier, there was a fuller life, to, oh my god, this relationship with a man that clearly maybe doesn't truly see her or not her equal in some way.
mhm.
I think that honestly the end piece, and I won't give too much away here, he did redeem himself a little bit in showing how much he actually truly like genuinely loved her. I could kind of see like, oh wow, the blinders may be lifted and he might be
Right.
full on in this now, taking this seriously. Like I feel like he was better than Flap in the sense of, wow, okay, he seems like he's gonna get his act together.
Yeah, yeah. He did
Yeah.
seem like he was gonna kind of pull it together. Um,
Yes. Like to think so.
Now it's interesting though. You say that she was in a different type of relationship before, and I think that's true to a degree. But I also think that it might have been the relationship with him earlier
Ooh, interesting. Yeah.
before the kids and the day-to-day doldrums of work and all
Oh,
that.
like when okay. Oh, now that's interesting, Dill.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting, Dill. Because again, we don't even. This is what I love about film too. We don't even know what their early time together looked like.
Right.
You just kind
Right.
of meeting them now with just life hit them, working, like kids, like.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that was my thought. It struck me a little more this time. I'm watching it. And let's see, we have a couple of comments out here.
Oh
All
yeah.
right, Mike, I didn't see the ending coming either.
Oh, see, Mike, right?
Yep, yep. Really want to see Atomic Blonde 2 with Charlize.
I didn't see part 2 either.
No, there is not one.
Yeah,
There
right. Like, oh no,
he
that's what I'm saying to come out. Like, yeah, I didn't. No, I'm sorry, Abdel. I haven't seen Atomic Blondes.
Atomic Blonde.
I haven't seen
I'm a
that
big
one.
fan of it. I did it on Movie Swap. One of the earlier ones I did with Tiana. Actually, I did it with
Yeah, I
Tiana.
haven't seen that one.
Yeah, it's I really like the movie. It's a really good movie. I want a part 2 to that. I want a part 2 to Salt with Angelina Jolie.
Oh, love Salt.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
So
that would be good. They could do a part 2 with that. I haven't seen Atomic Blonde, but I'm assuming Mike Dale it leaves it open for a part 2.
yeah,
Okay.
it's one of those where it's not really open, but it's
Okay.
definitely
They could do it.
they could do it. It could be made a franchise.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I
Okay.
haven't seen that. That's still on the list.
Yeah. Favorite role of Charlize is in Monster. Great actress.
Oh,
Yeah,
so
I'll agree. Yeah.
North Country too.
North Country, she was excellent. She was also excellent in North Country. Monster, I think she was just on another level.
Oh, next level, man.
Yeah. And
So good. Christina
Fury
Ricci,
Road, she
yeah.
was also great.
Oh, yeah, so good in that.
Yeah.
I
And
liked her Prometheus too. I know a lot of some
yeah,
people don't like Prometheus, but I liked her Prometheus. I like
I like
Prometheus.
Prometheus.
Me too, though. I think I
Yeah, and
got
I'm
a lot
now
of
this
love.
that's interesting because you guys are huge Alien fans. You and Mika are huge
And we
Alien
liked
fans.
Prometheus for what? Yes, we did. For what it was, we liked it. It's the reimagining of it. We liked
Okay.
that.
So I know a lot of Alien fans were like, they're ruining the
Oh
franchise.
yeah. Oh my gosh. There's like a lot of no love for Prometheus.
No. I still have to watch Covenant. I have it. I just haven't watched it yet.
Now Del, watch that and let me know what you think. I'm curious to see what you think about that one. I
Okay.
have mixed reviews on Covenant.
Okay. And if we're getting on close to October, I'll probably watch it.
Oh yes, you
Around
must
that
add
time.
that to the watch list.
Yep. And Mike agrees that Monster
Oh yeah,
was
it was Mike.
phenomenal. All right. So now, Miss Kira, I'm going to turn it over to you, and we're going to get your final thoughts, your overall thoughts on Tully. If there's anything that I didn't touch on, you want to talk about, go for it. And of course, if you liked it, or if you didn't like it, and well, I'll just let you go for it.
Oh, okay. So there was a couple of things. Well, this what I will say is it was hard for me to decide, Dell, initially from your list, what to choose. And there were like maybe 3 films I hadn't seen, and Tully has always been on my list of one to watch. I'm so glad I chose that. I really think this is an excellent film. I enjoyed it from start to finish. I think Charlize Theron's performance was top notch. Mackenzie Davis was a close second, honestly, even though the story arc kind of focused on Charlize Theron, but I think she really complemented the film quite well. So excellent acting across the board. I think it did a really good job with highlighting what postpartum depression can look like. For women experiencing that. I do know that potentially it may not be everyone who experiences it. It may not look the same, I should say, for every single person, but I think that it really highlights the potential of what could happen without support, without those you care about really kind of being on board to help you to the best of their ability. It was heartwarming. Oh, there were moments that were just heart-wrenching, honestly. There were moments that were actually really funny too. It was far and few in between, but it was scattered in there.
Mm-hmm.
But I thoroughly enjoyed it. I really would rate this and like high up there. Like on a scale of 1 to 10, it would be like a close 8 for me.
Okay.
It was really, really good.
Good. I'm glad that you enjoyed it.
I did enjoy it. Yes.
Yeah. So that is. We do have a comment about it, but that is pretty much it as far as the meat of the show goes.
Oh, love
So
it, Dale.
yeah.
Yeah.
So you made it through with flying
Yes.
colors.
Success.
And I'm going to well, we got this comment here from Mike. Says, I thought Prometheus and Alien Covenant were good, but compared to Alien and Aliens,
Oh,
they
you
weren't
can't
as
compare. Yeah. I
yeah, you
agree,
can't
Mike. Can't
compare.
compare. Yeah.
You can't compare that.
Yeah. Tough.
Yeah. And I will say that as a single guy with no kids, Tully was very enlightening about pregnancy and a lot of the struggles that it entails. I don't know how women do it, Mike.
Ooh, look at
Yeah,
that. Mike.
Mike, we will never know. Just
Telling you,
it's
you guys. Look at that.
we will never know. And KB chimes in, says great episode.
Oh,
Thanks,
thanks,
KB.
KB.
All right. So I'm gonna turn it back over to you for just a minute. And I'm going to let you plug away anything you guys have coming up on the podcast or with the Lost Girls or on YouTube. And of course, all
Yes.
the links will be down in the description
Oh,
of
thanks,
the
Dale.
channel. If
Thanks,
they're not
Dale.
already there, I think they're already there. But if they're not there, they will be there. But I will let you take it away. Go for it.
Oh, thanks, Del. Well, the Lost Girls, you guys, we are still very much alive, and we are doing a lot of banter right now, trying to figure out what our next episode will be. So bear with us, you guys. We didn't go anywhere. We're still there and trying to figure it out. So hopefully some new content coming soon from the Lost Girls, and I can guarantee we'll have something for spooky season for sure. And then also with Double Feet podcast, we have been on a bit of a hiatus, you guys. Mika and I have been undergoing a massive move. Oh my gosh, please bear with us. We could barely bear with ourselves. So packing and moving and packing and moving. But August, we return with new content. One segment that we are really excited about will be Under the Radar. And so in that segment, we're going to kind of highlight films that either people haven't seen, that they should be watching, or films that have kind of gone under the radar that we want to kind of just highlight so more people see it. So I think that'll be fun. You can expect that segment more consistently. And of course, new content in August. We shall return, you guys, next month. It'll be here before you know it.
All right. I'm looking forward to it. And now I mentioned October. You mentioned October a little bit. I mentioned October.
Can't wait, Dill.
So I can't wait for it. I'm going to throw this out there for you and Mika to mull over.
Oh, okay. Yes.
Can I get you both together on an episode in October?
Oh my God, yes. I'm speaking for the double, but I can say yes for both of us.
So it's got to be hard. We got to go hard.
Oh yeah, we have to. Oh my God, Dill, come on. October, we got to.
We got to.
Yes. I'm counting down to spooky season, you guys. I'm rushing the summer.
Absolutely.
October.
Absolutely. Now, just for anybody out there, I mean, you guys know, but I mean, you don't have to wait till October to watch horror movies.
Oh my God, I know, you guys. Come on. And I want to plug Dell. You got to go see it this weekend. Friday, the 28th, A24 Talk to Me comes out.
Oh, is that when it comes out?
Yes, this Friday, Dill. The double and I are already there. We're ready for it.
I do want to, but unfortunately, I won't get to see it this week.
Oh no, Del. Okay, add it, Del. Got to see it.
It's on the list. I'm going to see it. See it.
It's
definitely an interesting looking movie. That's for sure.
Oh, I've heard good things so far, so I'm excited.
Okay, yeah, I've not really heard anything, so I'm glad that you said that you heard good things.
Oh yes, a few people, Dale, in the horror community have been able, to see it early, and just them giving it like 5 stars. Like I'm like, oh wow, you guys, 5 stars, okay.
Well, every A24 movie comes out, everybody gives it 5 stars.
Oh yeah.
We'll see how that goes.
Right, Dale. We'll see. I'm excited. I'm see if it lives up to it.
We'll see. All right, Tyrone says can't wait for the new content.
Hey, thanks, Tyrone.
And Mika says definitely. So yep, I'm booking it and marking it down. We'll get together on a date.
Oh, awesome! Excited about that.
And Mika's thanking Tyrone. All right, for me, guys, before I get started plugging anything for me, just know that I appreciate everybody who was here tonight. There's lots of live streams going on, so thank you for hanging out with us for a little bit. And subscribe definitely to the Double Feed podcast on YouTube. Subscribe, follow them on Instagram, check out their podcast, and then check out each other in the chat. Lots and lots of good content creators are either here or came through here while we were speaking. And again, I appreciate each and every one of you guys. For me, and I'm going to be back next Wednesday with Caveman, who is actually on Bob's live stream now, competing. At least I think they're still competing with the Steelbook. So we'll talk about some great movies then. As far as videos goes, I just started a new series talking about my movie theater memories.
Oh yes, I've seen that. So good, Dale.
Oh, thank you. And we're going to continue just talking about movies that I saw in theaters and my experiences with them. And I will get the memorable ones. I won't get the boring ones. I promise.
Oh.
And
I was excited about your Batman one.
Yeah, I really had fun doing that one. The next one hopefully will be pretty soon. And other than that, I just put out a video here and there and do these live streams every week. So thanks for hanging out with me. Kira, thank you again for coming on.
Phil. I'm so honored to be on. It was so much fun.
Yes, I had a blast. And guys, that is really all we have for you tonight. I will catch you